Peace. How is everybody doing? It's been a while, almost a week, or even possibly a little bit over a week since I've done a video. I did do this chapter right here, Leviticus 19. I had it up now, and again, it didn't upload. And, it was an hour and a half thing by the time I got done with it. So when it doesn't upload, it kind of takes the breath out of you a little bit. So here we're going to be going over chapter 19, the various laws for those children. The Lord said to Moses, once again, hold on. Okay, Leviticus 19:1 here, the Lord said to Moses. The Lord in this is telling us that this is the proper name of God of Israel and that this is the self-existing eternal creator. And his name is Yahweh or Jehovah. Okay. Also God here in this sense, God, Elohim are both good and evil. The Lord said to Moses, anything that is incarnated in flesh, okay, is not the supreme creator. So if you have somebody bringing something to a Lord that's inside of a tent, behind a tent, that's taking offerings or something, that is not the supreme spirit. Okay, so the Lord said here, the Lord said to Moses, speak to the entire assembly of Israel. Okay, I've told you before, Israel. Isis is a female god. Ra is the sun god. And El is the supreme god. That could, I'm not saying it is, I'm saying that could possibly be a trinity right there. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Okay, Jerusalem has the word, has USA in it, and Salem inside of Jerusalem. So have we all been tricked? Could Jerusalem be those people in that province of Jerusalem today? Could the landmarks have been changed? Could they have? Would any of us know? Just asking a few questions. So he wants them to speak to the entire assembly and say to them, be holy, because I, singular, the Lord, your God, am holy. So this God here would imply that there is a God for Israel, and then that there is a Gentile God as well. And I go deep into this stuff. You got to hear this information out. And we also point out the contradictions on this channel here. Each of you must respect your mother and father, and you must observe my Sabbaths. I am the Lord your God. Here I pop over here to Isaiah 1. I'm going to drop down here to 10. Listen, we're at a part now inside of the Bible where I'm going to be able to start pointing out a lot of different controversies and stuff. The deeper we get into the Bible, the more it exposes itself, the more the lessons are. You start to understand that there are beings, okay, ancient ancestors on this plane of existence that call themselves gods, that they created themselves in an image, okay? They made themselves materialize through electricity, okay? They're really ghosts is what they are. So we drop down here to Isaiah 10 and it says, hear the words of the Lord, you ruler of Sodom, you rulers of Sodom, listen to the instructions of our God. You people of Gomorrah, the multitudes of your sacrifices, what are they to me? And what is it? What are they to me? They don't mean anything, says the Lord. I have more than enough of burnt offerings, of rams, and the fat of fattened animals. I have no pleasure in the blood of bulls and lambs and goats. When you come to appear before me, who asked this of you? This trampling of my court. Stop bringing meaningless offerings. Your incense is detestable to me. New moons, Sabbaths, and convocations, I cannot bear your worthless assemblies. Wow. So anybody, any Hebrew, Yasharite, Israelite, whatever the children of God are calling themselves today, I really don't know. I don't even know that any of you even really know. I mean, how could any of you know? How could anyone know on this plane of existence when you have these three different tribes, and you got one God that's saying one thing, and another God that's saying another. So this God here is clearly saying that the blood of bulls and lambs and goats don't mean a thing to him, man. That stop bringing meaningless offerings. The blood of animals are meaningless offerings. That's a contradiction. Okay? Observe my Sabbaths. Sorry. Stop bringing meaningless offerings. Your incense is detestable. Your new moons, Sabbaths, and convocations, I cannot bear your worthless assemblies. Your Sabbaths. So, that is a contradiction, folks, between Isaiah and the book of Moses. Just pointing that out. Anybody who wants to lay it in the column why this would be saying that, can you share your wisdom with me and tell me why we have one God that's saying, observe my Sabbaths, and then you have another God that says that the Sabbaths don't mean anything? Okay, this is the Torah now we're reading from. Do not turn to idols or make metal gods for yourselves. I am the Lord your God. So this is a beautiful parable. Look, do not turn to idols. Now look at this. Right here, man. The wisdom of the world is right here when I lead here. I'm going to talk about it in every lesson that I ever share. Okay? You must understand that in Genesis 1:27, that this man that's created in an image is a mage. I'm a mage. Okay? And it created an age. This mage created a beginning in time. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God. This God here is Elohim, okay? This is something that is used of the Spirit, the Supreme Spirit. It is not, this God here is not the Supreme God. It is something that is used of the Supreme God. So God created man in his own image, and then in the image here, an image is an idol. So this man that's created on the sixth day of creation is an idol. It's right there, folks. So God created man in his own image. So the question to ask yourself is, why would the supreme, self-existing, eternal Spirit of truth, the living one, the Spirit, which you can't see, create something in an image? Well, it didn't. He gave something power. This entity, this is a divinity. This is plural of Eloah in the ordinary sense. Other God definitions are a divinity of the supreme creator. Ordinary sense. Gods, ordinary. Ordinary gods, didn't know that. Ordinary gods. So this God, which was given power, okay, created man in his own image. Okay, up here, it's saying, then God said, let us make mankind in our image and likeness, right? This God is saying, let us make mankind in our image and our likeness. This is a divinity of the supreme creator, and it is the one that created a host system. Understand that the creator God of this plane of existence that we're living in, I know that a lot of my listeners are going to shrug away from what I'm sharing here, but the God of this plane of existence, the Lord of hosts, okay, is the devil. That's right. You heard me say it correctly. That the Lord, this God here that is created in an image, is the devil that was created on the sixth day of creation. And this is the one that is an idol. Okay? He's created an idol right here. And him is properly self right here. Self. So God, this fallen God, this entity that fell away from God, this powerful entity, created himself. This entity created himself in an image, and an image is a refraction of light as it shines through a prism on the face of a surface. So we are nothing more than what you see coming off of your television set. It's that complex. So when people say I'm created in God's image, you got to understand that this one that's created in an image is a phantom. And a phantom is a ghost. And a ghost is the spirit of the dead. And this one here is creating the illusion. And this is why it has the word mage in the word image, because it was created, because this mage creates illusions. It's a representative figure of an idol. It's an idol. This one created on the 6th day. It is not the same as the one that was created in Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. Continuing forward. So your idols, do not turn to idols or make metal gods for yourself. I am the Lord, your God. This Lord here would be the spiritual creator. Okay? You understand that the supreme living creator allowed something. Okay? It permitted something. I'm not just jacking you and saying it. Revelations chapter 13, verse 15, Bible Hub. See, it was permitted right here. The second beast was permitted. This beast here was permitted to give breath to the image of the first beast. Them bitches. The first God. Look here. This one here, this is a beast. You understand that? These are beasts. Our ancient ancestors were the beast race. Look, it's wearing a serpent right here on its head, telling you that this is a representation of the serpent race. Look at the belly button here, man. Okay, and look at the one on this one, this little kid here. Look at the belly button here. You know what they look like? They look like kangaroo patches. And this one here looks like it's breathing into the image of the first beast. Okay, it was permitted. This is why it says in Revelations 13:18, the second beast was permitted to give breath to the image of the first beast. Remember, we're talking about images here. So if we're going to go precept upon precept, then we come here, and this is the one that's created in an image right here. And this one is a phantom. This is the serpent right here, folks. You understand? The serpent was created on the 6th day of creation. This man here that is created on the 6th day of creation is the serpent. Okay? This is why he has created himself, a male and female. Genesis Parthenos, this man here, whatever was created, is capable of procreation. It's a male and female. It has both male and female genitals. That's why it doesn't say that in the image of God he created him and her, male and female, because he created this one man, a transvestite, and this is why we live in this plane of existence. When it says that the devil is going to be exposed, you just got hit upside your head with the baseball bat of truth right there. The energy force that controls this plane of existence created himself. This God that fell away, given a divinity of the supreme creator, these beings here that can, these ancient ancestors here, these Anunnaki and stuff, they are no different. You see right here, this is the splitting of the DNA right here. That's what it is, the splitting of the DNA. All right? So when it talks about being created in an image and one given the breath, this God here was permitted to create himself in an image. And an image is an illusion. That's monster huge, what I just shared with you there. Okay? Just keep up. This is good stuff. When you sacrifice a fellowship offering to the Lord, sacrifice it in such a way that it will be accepted on your behalf. It shall be eaten on the day you sacrifice it, or on the next day. Anything left over until the 3rd day must be burned up. Again, 3 is always associated with Abaddon. Here, Abaddon. Abaddon, the definition is the angel from the abyss. who's the angel from the abyss. Okay? The destroying angel, or place of destruction. Well, where's the place of destruction? Wasn't Satan cast down, thrown down? Well, then if Satan was thrown down, then it would be this place, right? Well, once you understand Genesis 1:2, now the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep. This is the devil right here. Darkness is misery, destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, and wickedness. So this is correlating Revelations to the beginning and to the end. Remember, Jesus says, I'm the beginning and I'm the end. This is Jesus. I know that I'm going to lose subscribers. I don't care. What I'm saying is that the Supreme Spirit allowed something to create this plane of existence and trap our souls. It's that simple. We come into this plane of existence. This is the first death. The Supreme Spirit allowed something to create this plane of existence here, even though he is the Supreme. He permitted it to be done. Okay? This is why the Supreme Spirit, the one in 23:19 of Numbers that says God is not a man. Okay, God is a spirit. 4:24 John tells us that God is spirit, and those that worship him must do so in spirit and truth. See, this is the materialized world. And when I talk about Satan, I'm talking about the body of Satan. When I talk about the body of Satan, I'm talking about the body of those that worship Jesus Christ. That is a body. The New World Order is everybody worshiping Jesus, which is the devil. I'm never going to worship that lie. So this is why darkness is on the face of the deep, because it was thrown down. And then once it was thrown down, this is what you got to understand. Once darkness was thrown down on the face of the deep, this lower dimensional God, the divinity of the supreme God, the one that was permitted, this is the one that said, let in the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. Well, what's the beginning? The beginning is the time. And Jesus says that I am the beginning and I am the end. Okay, when you sacrifice a fellowship offering to the Lord, sacrifice it in such a way it'll be acceptable in your behalf. It's to be burned up on the third day. If any of it is eaten on the third day, it is impure and you will not be accepted. Whoever eats it will be held responsible because they have desecrated what is holy to the Lord. They must be cut off from their people. Are people today being cut off from their people for doing any of these things that are unacceptable to the Lord? When you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap the very edges of the field or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Do not go over the vineyard a second time or pick up the grapes that have fallen. Leave them for the poor and the foreigner. I am the Lord your God. So the poor people are supposed to be able to not traipse through a vineyard or anything like that when it's in harvest and pull shit off of the trees. But the stuff that's on the ground is supposed to be for the poor. Do not steal. Oh no, it sounds like we're going to go through the commandments again, just only not in the same exact order. You're going to be what? All of a sudden, you're missing the moral laws of God. Do not steal. You're going to see that they disappear from here. Do not deceive one another. Do not swear falsely at my name and so profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. I am the Spirit of truth, is what I like to say. I'm replacing the word Lord with Spirit of truth. The living Spirit of truth. That's what the Spirit of truth says we need to worship, is spirit and truth. Spirit and truth. Do not defraud or rob your neighbors. Well, this is a problem for, it seems like, everybody on this plane of existence, because everybody's robbing. Do you know what true freedom is? True freedom for me is to not want everything that, it's really strange. I used to think that all my possessions, when I hit a telephone pole 10 years ago and I lost everything that I owned, really 20 years of my work vehicle, my equipment, my home, toys, my possessions, my inside articles, all my wall stuff, everything. I lost it all and overnight, and it was a difficult thing to bounce back from, man. To watch 20 years of your life go down. Do not defraud or rob your neighbor, man. All right, and everybody's doing that. Do not hold back the wages of a hired worker overnight. Now I got to ask everybody, doesn't anybody remember when Donald Trump like screwed 100,000 workers out of their a month's of wages or something like that? Right? And then what did Donald Trump also tell you? He told you straight up that Hillary and the Democrats on that end were writing laws in a way where that they could not have to pay taxes. I need everybody to understand something. Anything and everything that is ever owned in your family eventually will end up in the landfill, in a dump, and your money back to the government. Do you understand that the government owns everything? Even if you were a billionaire, somewhere down the line, your money passed down from generation to generation would all end up back in the government's hands. Every bit of it. So that's big too, man. This is why I say you can't vote. You can't vote for either side, left or right wing. It doesn't matter. They're both controlled by one head. And this is the head. Okay? This is the head. This is the physical vicar to the throne. Okay? These men here are the ones that put Jesus Christ at God's throne. They're the one that exalt Jesus and put Jesus on high. Okay? The Catholic Church. Here's his cross right here. There's the key to death and Hades right there. Jesus is the one that holds the keys to death and Hades. And there's your Pope right there. Okay? He's the one that holds the keys to death and Hades. Okay, do not swear falsely by my name and so profane the name of your God. Now, this God here, according to the Israelites, and not all of them, well, we don't know who's Israel or not anymore, to be honest with you. But according to them, this God here would be Yahweh. And those in the province of Jerusalem today would call him Jehovah. Do not defraud or rob your neighbor. Do not hold back the wages of a hired hand. Sorry to read all that twice. It doesn't hurt, though. Do not curse the deaf or put a stumbling block in front of the blind, but fear your God. I am the Lord. So this parable right here kind of shoots our government right in the fucking leg, don't it? Don't put a stumbling block in front of the blind, but fear your God. And that's what our government does, right? They put stumbling blocks in front of us, right? What do I mean? They put pills, prescription pills. People die on prescription pills every year. People die on street drugs every year. People die from alcohol every year. Those are all stumbling blocks that are placed in front of God's children. And they were placed in front of God's children by the one that said, let us make mankind in our image. See, this one's the one that likes flesh. The one in the sixth day that created himself in a flesh suit. Do not pervert justice. Do not show partiality to the poor or favoritism to the great. But judge your neighbor fairly. Judge your neighbor fairly. Okay, that means that if you got a neighbor, like, I'm going to give you a perfect example. I love my next door neighbors and stuff, but now we've been neighbors now for 10 years. My dad's been neighbors with them since their kids were even born, some of them. So my dad's seen all their children grow up next door, and I've seen them grow up from the age of 10, and now they're all becoming into young adolescents and stuff. They're becoming young adults. And two of the kids over there love working on cars, all right? And they work on these cars and they tear these engines apart now. And we were always in a pretty decent, clean area cul-de-sac. Now I got these personalities that are growing up next door, and they leave their shit, and sometimes their shit ends up in my yard, and it's quite annoying when they do it. And I got to go over there and I got to correct them. I got to judge them. I got to go over there and say, hey, because the reason why is because they weren't raised with their father. So they're without instructions. So they leave a lot of, transmissions in the front yard sometimes and stuff. They have barrels of oil, engine parts and nuts and bolts and shit all around the yard. And I got to go over there and I got to tell them, you guys got to clean this up. This is what it means. You gotta call people on their stuff, man. Okay, some of us don't want our neighborhood to be looking like a landfill or looking like a junkyard. Do not go about spreading slander among your people. Okay, do not do anything that endangers your neighbor's life. I am the Lord. What could you do that would endanger your neighbor's life? Let me think of something here. Maybe dealing drugs to your neighbor, being a stumbling block in that fashion, being a person that's selling, keeping the dope and shit on the streets and stuff. You see, I never used to think anything of it, man, because I was a drug addict myself. Now that I'm not a drug addict anymore, I'm angry and I'm bitter because lives die every year because of the drugs that our government puts on the streets. When George Bush said to claim the war on drugs, he claimed the war on Iraq to go over there and steal their poppy fields. This is why George Bush was called Poppy. That's why they called him Poppy, folks. Okay? So don't do anything. Don't sling their drugs. Don't sling their pills, man. Don't stop doing it, folks. There's going to be a price to pay for this. Do not hate a fellow Israelite in your heart. Okay, Israelite, the elite, the lights, the light of God. Okay, but you got to understand, this is maybe, I want my audience to understand the reason why I've stopped blessing the children of Israel is because those that are in the providence of Israel today are not the true Israelites. So you can't bless that nation, man. You're giving blessings to parasites that stole the rightful the rights of a chosen people that had a spirit put on them, a chosen people that have a different strain of DNA. You have RNA and DNA, and one race of people is a blue blood race. The other race of people is a red blood race, and this is why they have that blue line between the flag today. That thin blue line is a representation of the serpent race. You got to understand, the blue race is the serpent race, folks. Well, anybody in power is the serpent race. Okay. Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against anyone among your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. So the God requires us to love ourselves, but then the Bible also says that at the end, people will become lovers of self. So I'm not sure, man, but love yourself, love your neighbor as yourself. And I've kind of busted jokes on this, man, because that's what I think everybody's doing. They're loving their neighbor a real long time. Everybody's loving their own neighbor and doing it. Keep my decrees. Do not mate different kinds of animals. Another nasty, vile thing that these Gentiles do. Do not plant your fields with two kinds of seeds. So our ancestors today, what are doing? They're crossbreeding plants. They're doing different types of seedings and stuff. You got fruits now at the grocery store, man. Fruits I've never even seen before, man. They look like kiwis, but they're white. I've never seen a white kiwi before. Okay, so don't plant your seeds with two kinds of seed. Do not wear clothing woven of two kinds of material, meaning polyester and cloth, cotton, or anything like that. You don't mix these cloths. Why? I don't know. Probably because by mixing cloths, you start giving them names, and you start embroidering names and stuff, and then you have Reebok, and then you have all these different victory laps that are taking place, and all these different symbols 20, if a man sleeps with a female slave who is promised to another man but who has not been ransomed or given her freedom, there must be due punishment. I wonder what kind of punishment would be due here. Yet they are not to be put to death. A man sleeps with a woman that's been promised to another person. That there sounds to me like adultery, or would be fornication. But yet he's still not to be put to death. Why is it that a woman can be put to death for adultery, but a man isn't put to death? I mean, equality is equality, right? Think if a woman in another country is going to be stoned to death because she was found committing adultery, then a man who's found committing adultery in the same country should also be stoned to death. Well, that's just me. Because she has not been freed. The man, however, must bring a ram to the entrance to the tent of meetings for a guilt offering to the Lord. With the ram of the guilt offering, the priest is to make atonement for him before the Lord for the sins he has committed, and his sin will be forgiven. Okay? Well, again, there's no one that can make atonement for the Lord. Okay? Only you. It's you and you alone. You are the direct line to this. Let me tell you, you are. Why do you think that the Pope meets with all of our different presidents and stuff? Huh? Biden? Huh? Obama and his wife, Michelle? Trump? Huh? These two he looks like, wow, it's just amazing. Not even a smile. Well, look at this picture up here. It looks like the damn Addams family. Dun-da-da-dun. 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 They do, man. I've never seen a picture where I would have thought that Ivanka and the president's wife, man, would look so hideous. But it looks like they're going to a funeral. I shit you not. And the Pope here doesn't really look too pleased. Looks bent out of shape. So why do the popes all meet with other presidents, huh? Anybody wonder that? All of them. Because the Pope controls the president, and then there's men behind the scenes that control the Pope. That's a fact. Okay? Do not eat any meat with blood still in it. What? Hold on. Here, Jesus is the bread of life, for my flesh is good food, my blood is real drink. My blood is real drink. One more time, my blood is real drink. Whoever eats my flesh, Jesus says, and drinks my blood, Jesus Christ says, remains in me and I in him. Jesus wants you to eat his flesh. Jesus wants you to drink his blood. Do not eat any meat with the blood still in it. But Jesus is plainly saying that this glass of wine is his blood, and you're drinking it. And in case you don't know or understand, Christians, that is called a vampire. Do not practice divination or seek omens. All right? You guys remember the old movie, The Omen? That movie there with, I can't remember the names who played in it. Clint Walker might have been one of the players inside of the movie The Omen, but there's a scene where a little kid kills his mother. She's changing a light bulb on a light, and she's on a stool hanging over a little bit, reaching over to the balcony, and he comes down, little Damien, he comes down the hallway in one of those little tricycle things, and he hits the table with his mother on it, and she goes over the edge and busts her head wide open and stuff. And then Damien, he looks at his mother over the balcony, and then the camera peers over the top of Damien's head as it's zeroing in on the mother. It first zeroes in on the back of Damien's head, and it shows you the number 666. Listen, 666 is a body of men, okay? It's a system that we live in. If you assign a number to one man where it's going to stick through time, then that number in the man of perdition is Jesus Christ crucified. Jesus Christ crucified is 666. Do not practice divination or seek omens. Okay? Do not cut the hair at the side of your head or clip off the edges of your beard. So that was something that I never knew, that we were supposed to not clip our beards and stuff. We're supposed to keep our body, but of course, we do everything. It says in the Bible, you're not to tattoo yourselves either, but Christ, half the frickin' nation's tattooed now. Not only do they put tattoos on their arm, they do full tattoo body sleeves, man, and it's just horrendous. It's ugly. It's horrid. You want a tattoo, man? Go to the artist and pay for the artist and stick it on your frickin' refrigerator, man. You look silly doing sleeves like that. Do not cut your bodies for the dead or put tattoo marks on yourselves. I am the Lord. Imagine that, as I just mentioned it. 1928. Yeah, that's it. 1928 is the parable that it says. I wasn't even paying attention. Do not degrade your daughter by making her a prostitute. How many people out there do that? This is what I need people to understand, is you have parents in America that turn their children out into prostitutes. Parents that have literally raped and laid down with their children all their lives. The children don't know any better. They don't think anything of it. You understand that? You got a parent that's diddling its child from the very fucking beginning. The child doesn't know any different or any better that it's wrong or right. Once it may grow into an age at where it starts becoming uncomfortable for the child, but at the very beginning, they don't understand. But it happens. This wickedness happens across our nature, across our plane all the time. This is why we're in such depravity, whether you understand it or not. This is why women are so insecure, and these women will cling. They won't tell you that they've been raped by their father all their life, but this is a lot of their insecurities and why they're so desperate to cling on to a man to get out of the house. Observe my Sabbaths and have reverence for my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Where's his sanctuary today? If this was an everlasting comfort, where's the sanctuary today? And again, we're observing the Sabbaths, and I just showed you earlier in Isaiah where it says that the Sabbaths do not mean anything to the Lord here in number 10. Again, the multitude of your sacrifices, what are they to me, says the Lord? I have more than enough of the burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fattened animals. I have no pleasures in the blood of bulls and lambs and goats. When you come to appear before me, who has asked this of you, this trampling of my courts? Stop bringing meaningless offerings. Your incense is detestable to me. New moons and Sabbaths and convocations, I cannot bear your worthless assemblies. Sabbaths. So that's a big one there. Okay. Do not turn to mediums or seek out spiritualists. These are hand readers, palm readers, sorceries, witches, warlocks. Okay? This is why they call it, hold on. Got a black magic woman. Got a black magic woman. Do not turn to mediums or seek out spiritualists, for you will be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. Okay? Black magic woman's right in front of your face, man. Because that man that's created that on a 6th day is a mage. Remember that. This is wordcraft. Stand up to the presence of the aged. Show respect for the elderly and revere your God. I am the Lord. When a foreigner, when a Gentile, when somebody other than those chosen of God reside among you in your land, do not mistreat them. So we're supposed to be learning, but we're not, are we? We're declining. Technology is getting better, but we are declining. When a foreigner resides among you in the land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself. For you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. You were foreigners in Egypt, but you were foreigners in a captive land. Egypt is slavery. Egypt is bondage. Egypt is America. Egypt is Canada. Any free nation is Egypt. Do not be dishonest. Do not use dishonest standards when measuring length, weight, or quantity. Use honest scales and honest weights, an honest epith, and an honest hin. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt. Keep all my decrees and all my laws and follow them. I am the Lord. So, who brought them out of Egypt? Moses brought them out of Egypt. So, Moses is a conduit being used. If Moses exists, not even knowing that Moses is a real character in the Bible or a lot of these other characters. After all, it is the greatest story ever told. Right here in your face, the greatest story ever told. That's all it is. The Bible is the greatest story ever told. It's just a book full of stories, man, and allegories and riddles. All right? The truth is in the Bible, but you got to understand that it's been jacked by who? Excuse me. Right here, Matthew 7:6. Do not give dogs what is holy. Do not throw your pearls before swine. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and then turn and tear you to pieces. What does this mean? Do not give dogs what is holy. Do not throw your pearls before swine. What's holy and what is considered pearls is this book. Okay? Jesus was saying, don't give your book to the Gentiles. So this book was once the Hebrew Israelite book. It was their book. But now the book has been hijacked and rewritten by Gentile. So now the book is both good and evil. Intentionally probably done by the Spirit this way, for people who show themselves approved can see the contradictions. You'll never hear me say that this book isn't a bunch of contradictions, because it is a walking contradiction, folks. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs. Give that which is not holy. Give not that which is holy, the Bible, unto dogs, the wild animals. Neither cast your pearls, your blessings, before swine, the pigs, the lest they trample you under their feet, the wild animals, and turn again and rend you. Rend you, as in rear enders, because that's what they are. They're rear enders. Let's head on out.
As his plan for replacing cash, checks, and credit cards with new personalized 666 barcode system were implemented, peace and order began to be re-established.
That song that I just played for you, Watch Out for 666, if you guys want to go watch that. But this is what they're talking about. Replacing money and checks with cryptocurrency, man. They're trying to go digital. They want to remove cash, and this will keep a line on everybody. This means that if you wanted to move freely throughout the United States without being tracked, that you couldn't do so, because now you're on a digital fucking currency. And this is sheer fucking evil, man. Okay? People that are sleeping say, well, why do I care if the government's watching me, where I'm going, and tracking me and all that shit? Because why? If you even understood what our government was doing behind closed doors, and you were tracking and seeing all the fucking shady shit that they were doing, you'd literally cringe, okay? These people are evil, man. It's time to wake up, folks. Okay? It's time to understand this Revelations 13:15, man. For the second beast was permitted to breathe into the image of the first beast, so that it could speak and cause those that didn't worship it to be killed. It's time to wake up, man. You're living in an illusion right now. I prove it all day long. Blessings to all those that serve the Almighty, the All, the One, the Supreme, the Omnipotent, the always existing eternal Spirit of truth. This is White Raptor News Ministries.